In 1857, the French poet Charles Baudelaire published his first editions of his masterwork, Les Fleurs du Mal, the Flowers of Evil. In that anthology, Baudelaire uses the richness of the French language to its limit in order to explore the dark side of society. 150 years later, Pierre-Marie Brisson has decided to scandalize French society by rejecting the morosité and reclaiming his right to kindness and beauty. This series of new paintings, Les Fleurs du Bien, Flowers of Good, are an optimistic homage to his loving and happy take on reality. From the ancient Egyptians to Andy Warhol, the flower in art has conveyed feelings, beauty, ideas. In the times of the pyramids, artists already worshipped the image of the flower. The great Renaissance painter Botticelli still paid homage to the goddess of flowers over a millennium later. Across the world in China, artists painted the peony with careful attention to the beauty of each petal. And in Holland, the Dutch masters of 17th century Europe rendered the bouquet with unprecedented realism. The flowers and fruits so lush, so adeptly shadowed that you feel you could reach out and touch them. In Japan, the subject becomes flatter, more visibly structured, deeply saturated in color, more suggestive than realistic. These painted screens influenced 19th century European artists, including Manet and Van Gogh. Van Gogh's irises startled the viewer with their intensity of feeling. Each thickly painted stalk seems to carry the fever of his mind. This small yet important subject was just as vital in the 20th century. Picasso created powerful flowers, Matisse elegant harmonies, Nolde painted his emotions using flowers. Odilon Rodin worshipped the beauty of flowers in his elegant pastels. Georgia O'Keeffe takes us to the heart of the flower and helps us discover its organic beauty. And Andy Warhol, using flower as a tool, create decorative patterns to enchant the mind. The artist's challenge today, after so many great artists of the past have already worked with this subject, is to bring something new, something unique to this theme, to find their own voice and to bring to the continuum of art their special gift. How can you be original and still offer something new and important to the history of art? Pierre-Marie Brisson has found a poetic way of rediscovering the past while preparing the ground for art's future. These flowers are deeply rooted in the past and yet have a strong contemporary look. He's writing a new history that is totally original, uniquely imaginative, and quietly beautiful. Only someone who has a very personal knowledge of flowers, who is at heart a gardener, who has planted and tended to his own gardens like Monet before, can paint flowers the way Pierre-Marie Brisson does. He has learned from the fabrics of Versailles and the East about rhythm and repetition. Each of his flowers is different. There's uniqueness in his repetitiveness. Brisson transcends the traditional concepts of space, rendering it almost transparent. Each flower no longer draws its life from the earth, but from the timeless essence of nature. It is the air, the atmosphere, the deep space that energizes Brisson's flowers. When France was experiencing its darkest days in World War I, the Premier of France, Clemenceau, came to visit Monet at Giverny. The beauty of his garden was marred by the sound of cannon fire in the distance. Monet confessed that he wanted to give up painting. He felt unable to create beauty and sensed the futility of his painting in when all of Europe was suffering from the war. But Clemenceau urged Monet on. You must continue for the glory of France. Many masterpieces were saved because of that conversation, Monet's garden at Giverny being perhaps the greatest masterpiece of all. Brisson has planted many gardens in his lifetime. and these flowers are an extension of his desire to bring beauty into the world. As the ancient philosopher Lao Tse said, if you want to paint a flower, you must first let it grow inside yourself. For Brisson, flowers represent a way of looking at the positive side of the world. He paints from his desire to bring us back to values important to him: the love of family, the love of children, and the love of beauty. As Henri Matisse said, there are always flowers for those who want to see them. His figurative works share this unique vision. Brisson breathes life into ancient subjects. Through his skill as an artist, he seems to stop time. And in the moment when we behold his work, the art of the past and future mix seamlessly. He says, I see these canvases like a theater decor. The figures are like actors on the stage, and I create and make recreations on an ancient stage with plays that have already happened, but are happening still now. And the characters that we somehow know, we are meeting for the first time. I take these figures from the past and create variations of the theme I think they embody. The element of drip paint shows Brisson's masterful way of handling the surface of the canvas. He says, I can control the dripping like never before. It's like jazz. You start on a single note, and then you begin to play with the rhythm and create all sorts of riffs on that rhythm. These forms are fresh and full of life. And unlike their real counterparts, they will live eternally in those works. Brisson has reached a new level as an artist, and like great jazz, his art will keep reinventing itself and re-inspiring us